The super scary movie you shouldn't watch alone in 2025. Due to some scenes being excessively violent and bloody, this movie has been banned or rated 19 plus in multiple regions. If you're scared, please tag a friend to watch with you. The story is set in a post-apocalyptic world where Earth is ruled by monsters. The survivors, to avoid attracting disaster, barely speak to one another and instead communicate through sign language. A group of cultists worship the monsters as gods and capture survivors to offer them as sacrifices. Michelle and her boyfriend are unfortunate enough to be captured by the cultists. They are taken into the woods, where a chair made from a tree stump is placed in the middle. The cultists roughly bind Michelle to the chair with leather straps. The high priest pulls out a razor and cuts Michelle's leg deeply, causing the smell of blood to fill the air. Suddenly, a violent wind sweeps through the woods, signaling that something terrifying is approaching. The priest, sensing the monster's arrival, becomes visibly uneasy. He and the cultists climb a hill, turning their backs to face the incoming beast. Michelle is gripped by sheer terror. What do they want to do with her? Soon, a shadowy figure emerges from the trees, approaching Michelle. This is the monster the cultists worship, a creature that looks like a charred wild man. Michelle is terrified, but her hands are tightly bound, leaving her no way to defend herself. She desperately tries to break free from straps, and to her surprise, the chair snaps in half. One of the cultists notices and rushes over to grab her, trying to prevent her from escaping. Michelle fights back and in the chaos, ends up stabbing him with a wooden piece that was broken off from the chair. Blood pours out, and the monster, attracted to the scent of blood, pounces on the cultist and begins devouring him. The priest, assuming the monster is eating Michelle, lets out beast-like growls, chanting to encourage the creature. Meanwhile, Michelle uses the distraction to free herself from her restraints and flee the scene. By the time the priest realizes she's escaped, it's too late. All he sees is the monster dragging his fellow cultist away. Michelle runs for what feels like forever, believing she's safe now. She stumbles upon a small creek and washes her wounds, using nearby herbs to wrap them up as best as she can. But then, another monster appears, a grotesque, blackened creature resembling a malformed human. Michelle runs into a nearby cave and hides in a corner. The monster reaches the entrance, sniffing around for her. She clutches her wound tightly to prevent the smell of blood from giving her away. Her strategy works. Monsters have poor eyesight and rely on scent to track their prey. Believing Michelle isn't inside the cave, the creature eventually gives up and leaves. Just as Michelle thinks she's in the clear, she remembers that her boyfriend was also captured. Determined to rescue him, she quietly sneaks back into the cultists' territory.